Welcome to the KIMIYA Healing Podcast. Today I'm going to talk about healing your womb after miscarriage. Now, the first thing I want to say is miscarriages happen for a whole number of reasons. Fundamentally, you need to consider that your womb and your body and your nervous system, your emotional body, your spiritual health are all vital, as well as your environment, your diet, your movement, your physical structure, your pelvic alignment, all vital to host and safely and healthily host your newborn baby. Now, trauma, unresolved trauma, held in the body in a dysregulated nervous system inherently affects your hormonal balance. It affects your brain functioning, it affects your biochemistry, it affects your neurological functioning, which then in turn affects your physical body, your tissues, etc. It's really, really important to first of all consider that your vessel, as a woman, your vessel is all of these things that I've just mentioned, and you are using your vessel to host and create life and birth life. Just like you wouldn't move a newborn baby into a home or a room that you hadn't prepared, like deeply prepared. And you do that if you're going to have a baby and you have a newborn. The first thing you do is sterilize everything. And you do that in your physical environment, but you don't think necessarily to go through the same level of purification and vigor when it comes to your own body, nervous system, emotional health, and womb health. But it's really, really important, and often you don't realize until you've had the tragic loss or losses. And miscarriages, once they start to happen, you're more likely to experience another miscarriage, because now you haven't only got the foundational structure that you had when you had your first miscarriage, but you've now got the emotional pain and maybe even the confusion and the grief of the miscarriage as an additional layer. And I've had people contact me who've suffered with not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I've had people who've contacted me who have actually had 50 or 60 miscarriages in their lifetime. Now, by the time you've reached those numbers, you really need to be asking yourself what the fundamental conditions are of your body, your mind, your emotions, your spirit, your nervous system, your unresolved trauma. What are my fundamental conditions that need to change in order for me to birth new life? Because when you go to the root causes and start to really get clear on them, and this is what I would help you to do, to get absolutely crystal clear by immediately feeling and seeing what is happening in your own body. When you're clear on what's going on, it's very easy to change it, because I would say 40%, 50% of healing work is awareness, and the other 50% is embodiment. So you can't embody a healthy womb if you don't have awareness of the trauma that your womb is holding. You can't embody a healthy system and a healthy nervous system if you're not aware of the fact that you're chronically stressed, because you can't feel it, because you're numb or dissociated. So we have to balance awareness and embodiment. When you are experiencing miscarriages in that kind of number, you really need to be addressing the root causes. And the more you keep trying to push your body through a process that it's clearly telling you it's not ready for, the more trauma you're going to create in your own body. And then it becomes self-perpetuating, because you keep creating trauma, you keep experiencing trauma, and then you become even more panicked and fearful and mistrusting of your body, and grief arises. because now your body's not functioning and doing what it's supposed to do. And now you think you've got this huge, huge problem. Now you think your body's against you. Now, these are layers. You have to get beneath the layers. If you're really committed, dedicated to sterilizing your home and painting the walls and buying the nice clothes for your baby as you are, to purifying yourself, your body, and the home that newborn baby's brain and body is going to literally develop in, literally its entire brain, its entire perception of itself and the world, and what it means to be in a safe, healthy world. It's developing in utero. It's developing in your womb space as a mirror of your nervous system. So if your nervous system is dysregulated, you will transmit stress directly via the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary axis, directly into the fetal system. That affects not just the fetal genetics, but it actually affects the brain structure and functioning of that child. It's really key, and I've got 3 blog posts actually on my website if you want to read about the exact mechanisms of in utero stress transfer and how the developing neurological system of the baby is so immediately affected by maternal conditions. So the most important thing that you need to do is resolve the root causes. The root causes, I can guarantee you, will be trauma. Whether you have become aware of specifically what the traumas are, or whether you've already started working on what these traumas are, or maybe you think you already had cleared them and you're really surprised and shocked that you miscarried. I can guarantee you, if you come to speak to me, I will be able to tell you exactly what your body is holding that is not resolved. And the truth is, if you really want to birth a child into this world, your own child, and that's the most important thing to you, that you're willing to go through that journey and you want to go through that journey, then the most important thing to you should be to heal your womb and to heal yourself and to prepare for that journey, rather than to just expect that you should be able to create something healthy, create healthy life when you're not inherently healthy. It doesn't work like that. And actually, the child grows up feeling and knowing that. If you do end up having a child and it's had in utero stress extensively for 9 months, and it's then had perhaps birth complications, I work with adults who are in their 50s who are still suffering from the consequences of layers of trauma that have built up on top of a dysregulated fetal nervous system. Now, getting to that root cause is very much part of the work I do. It's possible, and it's very important, because you will not be able to go that deep in any other healing space. Nobody will take you directly into your fetal neurology as directly and clearly as I will, and show you exactly why you experienced what you did and why your body is now struggling to harmonize itself from a neurological perspective and from a hormonal perspective, why you're experiencing what you are. It's so crystal clear when you start doing this work. You'll be wondering why you didn't do it earlier and why you left it and put yourself through so much pain and grief when you could have gone directly into what the root causes are. So it's never too late to do that. It's never too late, but you have to be very willing. And the clients that I have helped go through this journey have completely turned their lives around and have managed to go from either struggling to conceive or having multiple miscarriages and not knowing why, to actually going on a real, authentic, genuine healing journey, not just because they want to have a child, but actually because they realize that this was the missing piece in their life all along. They never actually did it for themselves. When they do it for themselves, when you do it for yourself as a woman, you will experience such a huge shift in your body, in your health, in your reality. It will be effortless for you to create life and birth a baby and start the family that you're really looking to, because your conditions are aligned. You know your conditions are perfect, and your child at a soul level is waiting for you to do this work. That's the truth. Children at a soul level are mirrors of what is not resolved. They are, if you cannot bear to be with your own womb, if you cannot bear to feel your own womb, if you don't even know why that's important, your child will mirror that to you. That's the truth. Either they won't come in the first place because they cannot bear to be and to develop in that womb that is so unbearable for you, or they will come, but it will be a very, very difficult, stressful time for both of you. And the truth is that birth is a sensitive, sacred, deeply spiritual, and very healing process and time, and requires a lot of stillness. When you give yourself that and you prepare, just like you would prepare your external conditions, you take it very seriously that your body needs to prepare to have a baby, whatever age you are, and that you need to resolve your unresolved trauma held in your body and in your nervous system. Everything will change for you, and it will become a very blissful, relieving, and harmonious process. Now, you will take away from this what you're willing to hear. And I know that there's going to be some of you who are listening to this who will have a whole list of purely biological reasons why you don't have to heal, but you also can't either conceive the way you want to conceive or birth the way you want to birth, because of what you have chosen to believe about what's possible for you without actually experiencing what's possible for you. And that's a belief system. And if your belief systems are getting you what you want and getting you to where you want to be, great, your belief systems are working. And if your belief systems are keeping you stuck, and your belief systems are not getting you results, and your belief systems are preventing you from creating what you're really looking for, then you need to be willing to examine and challenge your belief systems. Until you do this, you won't drop into the deeper reasons and layers and purpose and the root causes. Because in order to drop into that level, to set yourself free, you have to want it. You have to deeply, deeply say within yourself, I am so ready, because I cannot experience what I've gone through all over again, and I am ready now. I'm ready to do this. I will see whatever I have to see. I will face it, because I deserve to, and my child deserves this. My future child, my future family deserves this. And that is the courage that, quite frankly, is required if you're starting this journey from scratch. You will have to dig very deep to make a decision within yourself that this child is worth that much to you, is worth you letting your ego go, deconstructing yourself, facing your traumas, completely rewiring your nervous system in order to prepare and create the right conditions to have your child. If you are listening to this and you want help to go on that journey, and you're ready to go deeply into the root causes, then reach out to me, book a consultation call with me, and we'll talk in more detail about what's required to really help you get clarity and get results on your healing path. You can also visit my blog where I've got podcasts, where I've got blog articles about the importance of healing your womb before you conceive, and also of fetal neurological development and how maternal stress and unresolved trauma affects developing fetus's brain and affects them later on in adult life. Actually, the research shows that children who have experienced in utero stress are more likely to develop chronic health conditions, depression, anxiety, mental health conditions, and are generally more likely to actually experience addiction and other types of social struggles. It affects the entire life of a baby and then later on as an adult. So it's not, my message to you is it's not just 9 months. And maybe, this podcast has put it into context for you, but my blog articles will give you the science of it. If you need that, if you want to read that and you want to go, okay, well, how does this actually work? I really encourage you to have a read of my blog, and just recognize that you're listening to this for a reason. You're listening to this because it's the right time for you to hear this. And when it's the right time for you to hear something, you can choose to make it the right time for you to do something about it. You can choose to bridge awareness and embodiment, to bridge awareness and action to get the result that you want. Because awareness alone, just listening to this podcast, turning it off and going, okay, well, that's interesting, but I still don't want to go there, nothing changes. That's the truth. And if you're being called into motherhood and you're being called into parenthood to, the soul of your child is calling you, is telling you, I'm ready to come, you need to prepare yourself. It's up to you whether you honor that connection enough to do the work. And I think that's really what love is, when you're willing to sacrifice yourself, your ego, and for a greater love. And I don't think there is a greater love other than the love of your own child. So without getting all soppy about it, I really think that this is it's a very important and sacred healing time, the time pre-conception. So here I am. I'm available if you want to talk about anything. If you want to reach out to me, just book a consultation call and we'll take it from there.